welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some games we've gotten recently, probably over the last year or so, and kind of my first impressions of them, and maybe some of my kids' interests in them as well. So if you enjoy this type of content and other homeschool and lifestyle content, please remember to subscribe and let's get into it. All right, so I went through and made a list of some of our past games from like Easter and Christmas, some of them from Easter this year and some from Easter last year, and things that I hadn't talked about yet because I like to get on here and share kind of game ideas and game reviews to let you know if it's worth it or not. So I went through and made the list, and then I've been playing the games with my kids. There's most of these games they have played with each other several times. I don't play them as much as them. Some of them I hadn't played at all. And so this really will be like a first impressions video of what I thought about them, which ones I liked, which ones I thought were worth it. And so I'm gonna go through this list, and some of these, since it is Prime Days right now, I think the day this comes out is the last day, but they might be good options. And obviously Amazon has other Prime Days throughout the year. They used to just do like one, but now they have several. So you could put them on your list if you want to save them for like Christmas gifts or whatever, and look for them in the fall when they have more sales again. So that's what the plan is today. And so we're gonna get started. The first one I wanted to mention is Plunder. And I'm not gonna sit here and hold this game because, no kidding, this box weighs like 20 pounds. It's very, very heavy. It feels probably heavier than it actually is, but it is a very heavy box. So I actually just played this with my oldest son today. He's 13, and he has played it several times with his brother, and then with, I think, my daughters as well. And this was something we got this year for Easter, and it is a more expensive game, but I believe it was on sale for Prime Days if it was something you were interested in looking into. But I actually enjoyed it, but also have a lot to learn. He like totally smoked me because I had never played it before, and he's really good at the strategy type of games. So Plunder is similar to Catan, but there's also a lot of differences. So the idea is similar. You have the board out that you're putting stuff on, but Catan, you get resources when other people roll your number, but this one you just get them for yourself when it's your turn. And you're playing with ships. The ships are so cool. They're very like nicely made. My husband, my son, I was not playing with my husband. My son, which sounds weird. Sorry, it's quickly going downhill and we're just at the beginning. Anyway, my son was like, oh, these are like super nice ships, right? For 3D printing, because that's what they are, right? They're just 3D printed, but they're very, very nice. And so the whole board is very nice. There's a lot of different parts. I actually asked my son if he likes this game, Plunder, over Catan, and he likes Plunder better. I think part of it is the pirate ships. There's cannons, you know, there's different things like that that might just appeal better. And he also said he likes there's different things you can do. Like Catan is, I guess, a little bit more, like there's still a lot you can do, but it's a little bit more straightforward, which is why it's probably easier for me. Whereas this, there's a lot of different options, a lot of different ways to play. And so if you're looking for like a fun game, it's gonna, for me, it takes time. It's gonna take some time to get to understand the whole game, but it's a really fun game, and it is a more expensive game. So it might be good to look for a sale for this one. The next one is bicycle playing cards, just regular old playing cards. I probably could have found some to show you. My kids all got some in their stockings at Christmas, and such a great thing to have. You can do so many things, so many individual games, so many games together. Growing up, for me, we weren't really a board game playing family. We played with cards. And so cards are very nostalgic for me. And there's so many games you can play with them. And so it's really nice just to have some regular old playing cards. The next several games I want to mention are kind of on the smaller side, and so they might be good for traveling. Some of these we'll probably take with us to Africa. There are also, some of them are more like learning geared games. There's a lot of them that are just fun, you know, just play or help you with different logic or things like that. So the first one is Skyjo. I've mentioned this before, maybe in a favorites video, I can't really remember, But I played this with my kids several times and I really enjoy it. They really enjoy it. It's very easy to sit down and quickly just set it up and just play. And I feel like it is easy for a wide range of ages to play as well. And it goes pretty quick. So if you don't want a super long game, I feel like this is really good. And it helps with math. It's fairly simple math, but if you have younger kids that are playing, then it's really good to help them with their little bits of math as well. So if you want just like a fun, easy pull out, lay out it doesn't have the board, but you lay out the cards and you just play, it's very fun to have this one. Another one we got recently and we just played for the first time yesterday was OK Play. And it looks like this, the instructions are right here. And this is a really good traveling game for like camping, for being on an airplane, whatever it is. You probably wouldn't want to play it on an airplane. You probably lose pieces, but it's very small and compact and easy to take. So it's basically, it's kind of like the Connect 4 types of games. You're supposed to get 5 in a row. So you can play with the 4 players and each person just takes one of these off and then you pull the pieces off. So at first we just played with 2 players and then my daughter came and played with us yesterday. And you're just laying them out, the pieces, and you're trying to get 5 in a row. And we actually found it was easier to kind of trick each other when we did diagonals. You know, just the straight across, like horizontal or vertical lines are just much easier to pick out. The diagonals are easier to miss. So I beat my son the first time from that. And then when we were playing with the 3 of us, he won because I was paying too much attention to one side of the diagonal and not the other side. And so that's just what worked well for us. That's a hint, do diagonals, like look for the diagonals. But it's just a fun, simple game to play. I am all about just very simple games. Like Plunder is fun, but it's so complicated. There's just so many rules and that kind of stuff is a little hard for my brain to like try to comprehend. So having something like this that's so simple, you just take it out, start laying down pieces. It's pretty quick and it's very easy to travel with. I'm good. This is what I'd pick. Another game that we got, I think at Christmas time, was Spoons. So this game is very nostalgic for me. Not the game itself. I didn't actually know they had a game because we played Spoons all the time when we were kids. That was like our go-to family game. So this is when those just normal playing cards, those bicycle playing cards come in handy because you don't have to buy this game, okay? My daughter actually already lost a spoon. So that's one of the things with this. I'm like, when I got it for her, it was more the idea of if we have the game, we play it more, which hasn't necessarily been true. But I feel like sometimes that is the case, right? If you don't have an actual game, then you forget that that's an option. You forget that playing spoons is an option. So if you have the game, it's a little easier. So it comes with the 5 spoons, I think, and she just has 4 left. And then it has the cards in here, which is basically like a bicycle deck of playing cards. And so we just would grab spoons from our drawer when we were younger. And you could use anything that you can just grab, right? And my husband's played extreme spoons before, so you put them like other places in the room and it gets a little crazy. So you gotta be careful with that. But it's just so fun. It's such a simple game to pull out. Put the spoons in the middle and start passing cards, and you're just looking for 4 of a kind, basically. And you just go through, and it's very, very fast paced. And then you can be the one that grabs the spoons and goes crazy and tackles them, or quietly takes them and see how far you can keep going before someone else notices that some of them are missing. So yesterday I played with 2 of my kids and it was just very nostalgic for me. It was so fun and I was like, oh my gosh, this brings me back to my childhood. So this one, I don't think you need this game. Maybe if you just need a reminder that this is an option, then you might need the game. It is a fun, like small, compact one. So if kids were going to camps or on a trip with friends or, even a family thing and you wanted to be able to just bring something that's small and the game is already there, then it might be a good idea for that. Another nostalgic game that I wanted to share with you is called 5 Crowns. I don't actually have the box because my daughter is at camp. She's at a girls' camp this week and she took it with her. But I grew up playing this game And it was just, we just played with 2 decks of bicycle playing cards, and you take out the aces and the 2s. And the idea of the game is you start with 3 cards and 3s are wild. Then you go to 4 cards and 4s are wild. And you still have jokers too in the deck. And then whatever point you can't discard, that's what you're stuck with. And you go all the way up to kings, right? So you'll have 13 cards, kings are wild. And in this particular, in the 5 Crowns game that we got her off Amazon, it has 5 suits, not just 4. So it's a little bit different, but it's basically the same idea. Again, a fun, easy game to pull out, and you don't necessarily need the cards from like Amazon. You could just use normal playing cards to play the game. And I just have really fun memories of it. I didn't know that there was actually a name for it until just last year because we just called it Grandma's Game. Like my great grandma would play it all the time, and that's just what we called it. And I didn't know that it had a different name. So that's another fun one. I'll link all of them down below. So even if I don't have ones to like show you, they'll be linked down below so you can check them out. Another one that's really fun and easy to learn is Quicks. Is that how you'd say it? I don't even know. But it's very small, again, so good for traveling. But it has these playing cards. So this is the only thing I'm unsure of. Like you might eventually run out of these cards to play with. And so you have the different colors. So you have dice that are also these different colors, and you roll them, and you're trying to just mark off the squares. And it tells you down here how many points you get. Like if you marked off 4 in this red section, you get 10 points. So you put 10 here. And then there's something, I can't remember if it's for doubles. It's been a few weeks since we played this, and so I'm trying to remember all the different rules. But it's very, very simple to learn. Like I learned it very quickly. I think maybe I took second. I don't think I won, but I took second. So this is just another fun one to pull out. Again, easy to put in a suitcase, take with you on trips or whatever. Muddled is a good one if you want to really test your brain. So this is a good homeschooling game as well, like a good learning game. My husband is really good at these types of games, which is why we don't invite him to play. Just kidding. Otherwise, we all just lose. So basically the idea of this one is that you have these cards. Let me see if I can grab one. So these cards that look like this, and there's dies that have different colors on them. So, and there's a timer. And so someone's going to roll the dice, and depending how many people you have playing, there's 4 to 5 dice. You know, if you have less people, you play with less dice. It makes it a little bit easier. And then you have the paper here that you're gonna write words on. So basically, if you roll, you know, they'll roll the colors. So you might have, there's a wild one too. So a wild card, not a wild one. There's a wild, let me show you. It might be easier. So this one, you can pick any color to use. So let's say you get to use 2 reds and 2 greens. So you can only make words out of the 2 reds and 2 greens on here. So that's how you create words. And at first, when you look at this card, after you roll those dice, your brain is just like, what the heck is happening? Because you're trying to like figure out which ones you're doing and trying to put words together, and it's very difficult. And my husband just like, we played 3 rounds of this, and which is another nice thing. It's very simple to start and to stop, and very like quick that way. But he just came in on the 3rd round, and I was winning, which made sense. I'm older, I have more exposure to just words in general. So it's a little easier for me than for my kids. But my husband came in and almost beat me after, like in just 1 round. And he didn't even really know the rules completely and was still almost just beat me, because he's just so good at these types of things, or thinking of different words, like those types of things he's so good at, and puzzles. So this is a fun one to really work your brain. And my kids, one of my sons was like, I don't like this game because it's hard, right? It gets frustrating. But I think, you know, the more you practice it, the better you would get at recognizing words and word puzzles. So I feel like that makes it really good, because it's just makes your brain really think and learn how to put letters together. The last like smaller game I wanted to mention is these war cards. I don't know what you call them. It's decimal war and fraction war. So basically, you know, the game war, where you divide out the deck. So it's 2 players, like it's a 2-player game. You divide out the deck, right, and you play war. And so this one is with decimals, this one is with fractions. And so when I played this with my son, at first it was weird to like look at these and be like, what the heck am I supposed to do? Because I'm so used to just seeing like a suit, right? You see hearts or whatever, you see an ace and you're like, I know the ace is the biggest and stuff. So at first it was very tricky for my brain to switch and be like, decimals, how are we gonna do this? And so then it became easier to just look at the numbers and be like, oh, my number's bigger. And I feel like this could be a really good learning tool, especially for younger kids. It's fun to play with older kids, but my son, you know, we both were kind of on the same level. So if you want someone that's on the same level, then yes, play with older kids. If you want to use it more as a teaching tool, then you could do it with younger kids and have them look like past the decimal. Okay, whose number is bigger? Oh, they're the same. Okay, let's look now at the next place value and see which number is bigger. And you could use it that way. The fraction one, I have mixed feelings about this one. I feel like it's still a really good learning tool, but the tops of the cards have the fractions and it has the halfway line marked. And so you can easily look at each other's cards, which is what me and my son kept doing, and just see quickly, oh, is mine at the halfway? Is it way past the halfway? Is it a lot smaller? You know, and know almost immediately whose is bigger and whose is smaller. And some of them are close, right? So then you have to actually math it out, but that's not the case for all of them. So for some kids that might be helpful, right? As they're just learning fractions, or if you really wanted to use this as a learning tool, I feel like you could cover them up with sticky notes, the tops of the cards, and then just go through with the fractions. And down at the bottom, it has some things that it's equivalent to. And so that makes it a little easier, you're able to see which one is bigger. But this also, it could be a really good learning tool if that's how you want to use it. But for me and my son that were older and figured out like the hack, it was very easy for us not to even pay attention to the fractions. We just looked at the pictures. All right, so I just have a few more like sort of bigger games, probably not games you want to travel with because they might just be annoying. But the BAM Bingo ones, we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. These are, again, something I have mixed feelings about. I feel like for young kids, they would be awesome. They do have even more like simplified cards in these. There's like a few of them. So if you are just playing with just a very young child, even want like you and just them, or maybe you're not playing, but you're just reading them the numbers as math practice, then you can use those smaller cards that have smaller numbers on them. And then as they get better, you can use the other cards. There are some like challenge cards in here, which is fun. So it has, I'm see, oh, cover your age is one of them on this one. And then this one says cover a number higher than 16. So I thought that idea was cool that there was some different options. It's just not straight numbers. But if I'm playing with all my kids, these are too easy. And my youngest daughter that is in school, so she's 8, could probably benefit from going through, you know, and just becoming more familiar, more fluent with all of her numbers. She's pretty good generally, but especially as you get more into division. So we just played the multiplication side because she's more familiar with that. But division would also be good for her. But again, I feel like this could be a really good, like, just parent to student, or, you know, teacher to student use because of that. And if you have the same ages, it's really hard across ages. My older kids were just getting bored because they're like, I know all these answers, Mom, this is dumb. So that's just my like 2 bits about that game. The next one is Ubongo 3D. We have several Ubongo games. I really enjoyed this one. I feel like it's a little easier for me than just the 2-dimensional one, because you are trying to like build them. You have the actual pieces to make an object. And my 13-year-old is really good at this game. So I like Plunder, he kicked our trash like a lot. I still was able to like get a few of them and felt so proud of myself and get them before he did. But he like doubled. His score was double me and my daughter's. So my score was the same as the 8-year-old's score. Our son's was a lot more. So anyway, it's really fun. Something I do love about this that I didn't even know about until we played it was that the cards, let me see if I can grab them real quick. The cards have different, what's the word? Like levels. I'm like, I can't even think, difficulty levels. That's what you maybe call them. Anyway, and so they have ones, I think the green is the easiest. I'm looking at the card over here. So the green is the easiest, yellow, and then you have, I think, orange and then red. And so regardless of who is playing, like they can have something that is difficult for them, because sometimes it's so hard to play these games with all of my kids, because the younger ones, it's way too hard, and the older ones, it's too easy, or vice versa, you know, like it's just becomes so hard to play with all of them. But this way, they can all have a card that is difficult for them, and we can all play together. And so that was something my son yesterday, he played with, we both, me and him played with yellow, and our daughter played with the green. He probably could have played with like the orange at least, because he's just so good at this game. And so I'm like, next time you need to play with harder card, because it's not cool. It's not cool that you're kicking my trash. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. It's fairly quick in a lot of ways, because you have a timer, and then you only do 9 rounds. Like you set out 9 gems, and that's how people like win if they are the first ones done or the second one's done. And it's fairly a quick game, and easy to set up and easy to catch on to, but hard to solve some of these puzzles. The last game I want to mention was probably one of my favorites. Out of these, it was probably my favorite. I liked Ubongo as well. There was a few other ones I liked for different reasons, but Tetris was so fun. I think a big part of it was that it was very nostalgic for me again. Tetris was like a game I played so much as a child and like through my teenage years, because it was a game on the computer. And then, you know, we didn't have internet when I was a kid, like a young kid. And so you just had very like simple games. So I learned how to play Tetris really well. And then once you did get phones, that was like one of the first games that was even there was Tetris. And so I played this a lot. This one was super fun, and it's a little different obviously than playing on the phone or the computer, because you're not rotating by like pushing stuff. You know, you can still rotate some of the pieces to an extent, but there's like a grid, so they can only slide in a few different ways. You can't like flip them backwards, because then they won't slide down the grid. But then it also is unlike the computer game, because it's not like they're just coming really fast, right? Like the next one's already starting to fall. It does show you which piece will come next so that you can know, but it was really easy for all of us to play as well. Like obviously I've played it a lot and just understand the game a little bit better. And so I was able to get rows that were complete all the way up, whereas my 13-year-old son did a little better than his 8-year-old daughter, but was still struggling to complete some rows as well. So it's really fun. It has some like bonus ones if you get a certain piece where it shows on the grid and things like that. I really enjoyed it. Maybe because of the simplicity of it as well. It's a very simple game. It doesn't, like, Ubongo is fun, but I'm just like, my brain cannot. Like, how do I put these pieces together? Again, more practice would be helpful. But Tetris is one I could just sit down, I know how to play it, and it's fairly straightforward and simple for anybody to play. All right, so those are some of our recent games and my thoughts about them. We enjoy playing games. I should be better about playing them with my kids, because it has been a lot of fun to play these games and to like think about what I think about them. I'm like, do I actually like this game or not? So it's been a good experience for me. But comment down below some of the games you've been loving, whether it's like more homeschool learning type games or just for fun types of games. I'd love to hear. I'm sure other people would love to hear as well. Remember to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.